Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts. And I'm excited to kick off Season 2 of our podcast series in partnership with Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. It's called We Are REC. Every week we'll release a new episode talking to different people from REC about a host of different topics. We'll get tips for saving money on your electric bill. We'll talk about renewable energy and the impact it can have in our communities. We'll get some behind-the-scenes info about what happens when the power goes out in a storm. Don't miss out on information about community grants, scholarships, REC-hosted events, and more. Get every single episode on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on Spotify. Just do a quick search for We Are REC. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday as you are listening to the show today. However, we have pre-recorded our conversation over Zoom on a Friday afternoon. I just had to retake my intro because I said happy Friday, and you've already heard me say that last week. But I am really excited to be sharing a Zoom screen today with Lorraine Hewitt. She is the head of school at Front Royal Christian School, going to be called superintendent moving forward, which is really kind of cool. Joining her, although not on my screen, I think she's going to pop her head in and out, is Mariana Wakil. She is the director of communications, development, and operations for Front Royal Christian School. Ladies, thank you so much for taking some time out of a Friday afternoon to have this conversation with me.
Well, thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So before we get into, I know the bulk of what we want to talk about today is what your reopening plans are and how you kind of came up with the plan that you have to reopen in late August. But before we get into the weeds on that, tell me a little bit about Front Royal Christian School. What kind of school are you? What grades? Tell me about the kids. Kind of give me an overview of your school system.
Well, Front Royal Christian School started in 2006. We serve pre-K through 12th grade, and we have just about 200 students. We are a private Christian school, and we are located in New Hope Bible Church at the time, renting from them since we've actually, a year after we started, we were at New Hope. Added about 6 classrooms, gym floor, and kind of made it home. So we've been there since. We are a school that has a program for vulnerable learners. So we have an inclusion program that we feel is probably one of the most incredible programs because everybody is on the same page. We have a philosophy in our school that is just unique in itself because we train all our teachers with our slogan that says, teaching all to teach all. Talk about not leaving any behind. We don't allow anybody to not know that we're on the same page. So we have less of a dualistic approach and a beautiful unity and community within the staff and the students. We know as educators, it's so clear. I don't know any educator that wouldn't say that we want to understand our students. So being a private school, we have an opportunity to pick our professional development, and we did just that. We're in our 5th year of National Institute for Learning Development, professional development that has helped us learn all our students in our approach. We have educational therapists within the school, and our teachers are trained with that same philosophy. So there is no us and them. All the students' needs are met within the classroom. It's a beautiful community, and understanding your students is happening at Front Royal Christian School. So I'm very blessed.
We also I'm sorry, Janet. We also have a dual enrollment program too. So it's when we talk about all learners, what's unique, I think, too, is that really every student, their interests, their needs, really their giftings are addressed. And even whether a student comes in at kindergarten, preschool level, or if they come in middle and high school, the administration and the faculty work to really know what that student's goals are. And so one of the programs we've also instituted is a dual enrollment program where students can attend Lord Fairfax, they can attend Regent University. We work with partnerships with different universities as well. And so our students are also in the high school. Some who have college aspirations are also able to do that as well.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I think sometimes there's this massive misconception out there in the public about what private schools, what Christian schools, homeschooling can really provide outside of a public school system. But you guys check all of those boxes. You have sports, you have the dual enrollment programs, you have everything that any child could potentially get in a public school system. But I think the benefit is it's a much smaller learning circle, which I think a lot of times is so much more effective for so many more kids.
There's no doubt, Janet. When you're a big fish in a small school, the word opportunities is an understatement. We allow them. We have a great drama program led by Tammy Kaufman, who this drama has served over 1,000 people in the audience. And we just get to watch the kids just build their skills, and whether it's sports through basketball, volleyball, archery, which incredible program that just started about 3 years ago and went to nationals in its second year. Just able to do and offer these opportunities so that kids can be the best version of themselves. We believe fully in building the dignity within a student and giving them the confidence and competence to take the next step, not just today, but later in life. And with everything that's gone on, we see the essence and the need for such a philosophy more now than ever. And we're just really enjoying the fact that we've spent so much time just understanding our students. And we know now that what we have learned and giving them all these opportunities it's a great fit. It's a great fit for what we're all going through. It's a great fit for their next step in life. So again, we're just really blessed to have so many opportunities in this little school in the middle of Front Royal.
Well, and Marietta, you mentioned this a second ago, and I think it's another misconception I kind of want to bust out of the gate too, is you don't have to start in pre-K or kindergarten at Front Royal Christian School. You can make a change in 3rd grade, in 7th grade, or even in 11th grade and come into the school and pick right back up wherever you were and continue on with your education. Is that right?
Absolutely, and we will do a evaluation of credits. If you're coming in the end of middle school, going into high school, then we will evaluate credits. We'll make sure you have everything that the state requires and beyond. And yes, absolutely, students come in at all different levels and ages, and just come right in, and it's just like they didn't miss a beat.
And we get the opportunity to prepare them specifically for their college years. We've had no problem with any students getting into the colleges. I think 2-3 years ago, we had quite an incredible amount of scholarships, $850,000 in scholarships for our small little class that graduated. All of them were accepted to the colleges. We haven't had any problem with acceptance.
100% acceptance rate to the college of their choice.
Of their choice, yes. And they will apply to a college, which even if they decide to do LFCC and continue that course for 2 years, they've already applied to a college that has accepted them and is ready for that. Again, making sure that next step is ready. It's really exciting to see and watch their development, especially in that high school year.
And even if it's not a college-bound student, we have students who come in and, they just can't wait to get their hands on a piece of wood, and they're a carpenter by heart, or they are, they have other interests. We will work with internships and mentoring programs throughout the community to make sure that they have that support too. We have a student who went into being an electrician. And one of the amazing things that I love to hear this story is that their employer said, you're a little bit different. Where did you go to school? And they said, well, I graduated Front Royal Christian School. And he said, I can just tell you're different. So it's just that different, it's a different impact when you, like Mrs. Hewitt said, when you're that big fish in a small pond, you just have those opportunities where when you're in a bigger environment, you have to try out for, activities, you have to try out for teams. Here, if you suddenly say, you know what, I'm in 9th grade, but I'd really like to play basketball. You have that opportunity to try. You didn't have to start in, 3rd grade or travel team or something like that. Those opportunities are there. The same way with drama, we have a band that plays weekly for our chapel, a full stage band. We have a phenomenal music teacher who does voice lessons, and we have a band that meets both middle school and high school for that as well. So the opportunities are across the board.
Lorraine, do you find that because you're a smaller school that it made it easier for you back in March to make the pivot when COVID-19 first hit? Because I know you guys pretty quickly converted and transitioned over to online learning. I didn't hear a lot of issues with your students and what was going on with you. And I have to say, I have the inside track there because Lonnie Hill obviously is married to Carrie Hill, and their kids come to Front Royal Christian School, and Carrie was a guest on the show, I think back in late March. But does that make it easier for you to be able to make those changes like you had to do in March?
I would have to say yes, but I will say also that going from a modality in which none of us have ever done across the world, we all haven't done it, but it doesn't make it any easier when the bottom line is this is a brand new modality. I'm sure it makes it easier for how we care for our students with less. I will plug to Association of Christian School International, which is our state, if you will, had us put up a plan about a month prior to all this, just said, maybe you want to get a plan together. April Roth, who's head of our HR, put a plan together, and we both said, we'll probably never use it, but if it occurs, we're ready. Well, a week later, or no, probably it was a month later, but ultimately it was up in 2 days, and Mariana could attest to that even more. She took it and ran with it. I am extremely proud of our staff who just adjusted and adapted to the best of their abilities. It was not easy, but you're right. There was not a day and a moment. We just turned and went. And that probably is a lot of that's based on the community that we have and working together, serving each other, and knowing that our interest is in the child. We're not dealing with a product. We have a life, and we have to get that. We knew that change was in the midst, and we had to keep something consistent and be there for them. Many times, even during break, when we had spring break, we didn't really have to my teachers didn't even take spring break, because they just wanted to make sure the students were okay, and they would go online and just touch base. But it launched, you're right, it launched in 24 hours. Certainly had some issues, but nothing compared to what people were facing.
And yeah, I think one of the other things too, because the teachers know the students, I know several cases where students, that switch in modality was a struggle. And yet the teacher and I talked, and it's like, okay, well, I can meet with this student individually at this time. And so it was one-on-one instruction for some students that just was necessary to really work through. We had a reading specialist who took the extra steps to really meet one-on-one with her reading students. But, it was exciting. We had physical education going on. Our schedule remained exactly the same. So I had a parent say, I don't know what he's doing, but during PE, I hear a lot of noise up in his bedroom. We had choir and band practicing online through Zoom. We had our chapels continue. We had a virtual grandparents' day. Every year, one of our favorite days is to invite all of our grandparents in.
Absolutely.
And it was sad because that fell during that 2-month period. And so we pulled together Virtual Grandparents' Day, and we had a tremendous showing of grandparents who came into the virtual classrooms, who spent time. And one of the most amazing things is the classrooms would end. You hear grandparents say, bye, Alyssa, bye, Grandpa. It was so amazing to watch that, and just the teachers embracing and watching the grandparents embrace the technology too. But we had chapels, we had our student advising continued. We have a community and career program where we invite in guest speakers, and our teachers continued that program. So students would meet. But like she said, one of the amazing things, even during spring break or even over weekends, some of the students would ask a teacher, can you open up a classroom? We'd just like to hang out together, because that social emotional was so important. And so we were able to do that. We have our Dean of Students, Pete Richardson, just did a phenomenal job of even sometimes just going on saying, okay, Wednesday night is 9th grade gaming night. Anyone who wants to come online, we're just going to do our own thing together. And so it was just the community aspect. I don't know anything like that anywhere else. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I remember Lonnie telling me one day at the station that he could walk through his living room at any given time and walk through the middle of a social studies class or a math class, because Carrie was on one computer, Mason's on another, Levi's on one, Evan's on one. He had no idea he could sit there, he said, for 20 minutes and learn 14 different subjects just by standing in the room.
Well, watching our ASL and our Spanish teacher do language online was incredible.
Beautiful.
The conversation, actually, it was really incredible to watch the growth in these students online on Zoom because of the conversation that, there was no distraction. They were all together online. And so our Spanish students, I think, leapt bounds in their conversation abilities. And then it was our life skills teacher. It was really funny because he's a chef by heart. That's probably where he should be eventually one day, but he was cooking everything online. So you could go online and make recipes with him. So yeah, it was a really great opportunity. Mrs. Hewitt and I would drop in on classes, and it was just incredible.
I think you always have to look at situations like that. Again, that is not the modality we choose.
Right.
For the first time ever in education for me, and I've been teaching since I'll age myself in the 80s, we were in their living room. And our partnership with our parents is so very important. and you feel like you can never get a full connection because life is so busy. So I'll just look at that and use that scripture in Romans 8:28 says, all things can work for some good, where we were able to be in their living room, get to know the parents even better, get to be part of them as they showed us their room. And just for the first time, the interest was fully in the child because, we got to see their beanbag chairs or whatever meant something to them. That mediation of meaning, where we're connecting even more with our students.
A lot of pets.
Yeah, a lot of pets. I thought it was a beautiful thing. Again, I am not taking away the fact that it isn't an easy what happened with COVID by any means, but look for the aspects of good. And we have a program that we do with social emotional training, and we continued that. And the parents got very engaged with that, which was beautiful because that, of course, right now is very important. So a great time to partner with the parents in a different way for the season that we were in.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, can we talk a little bit about summer and then get into how reopening is going to look? I know that you guys are planning as of today. Of course, we all know tomorrow could bring something entirely different, but you're planning on opening on Tuesday, August 25th is the first day of school. So can we talk a little bit about what that's going to look like as well in the second segment?
Yes, that'd be great.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Lorraine Hewitt. She is the superintendent at Front Royal Christian School. Mary Anna Wakil is also on the Zoom screen with us today. She is the director of communications, development, and operations for Front Royal Christian School. I'm Janet Michael. This is The Valley Today, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Do you know anyone who is struggling with financial hardships because of coronavirus? Our new webinar called Coping with the Money Crunch can help. We'll talk about immediate options to consider, revising or creating a spending plan, and lots of community resources. Then we'll cover how to narrow your priorities, contact creditors, and avoid scams and risky loans. The webinar is free, and you can either join by phone or through Zoom on a smartphone, tablet, or computer. You can find out more by visiting the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program on Facebook or calling Karen Poff at 540-635-4549. Let me show you how to make your own plan or help someone you care about get through the crisis. Call 635-4549 or visit at NSV Financial Education on Facebook today.
Welcome back to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday as you are listening to the show today. However, we have pre-recorded our conversation over Zoom on a Friday afternoon. We are chatting today with Lorraine Hewitt. She is the superintendent at Front Royal Christian School. Next to her is Mary Anna Wakil. She is their director of communications, development, and operations. So ladies, in the first segment, we talked a little bit about what Front Royal Christian School is and who it's for and how you transitioned back in March when COVID-19 hit. What has the summer looked like for you? I mean, do you guys typically do things during the summer? Have you been able to maintain or continue any of that?
We did make some changes. Yes, we usually have a summer program, and of course, we want to be very careful with everything going on, make the right decisions. So we decided that best for us, again, as we're switching back out of our modality, would be to run our educational opportunities. Knowing that the kids have gone through what they did, and we certainly did switch quick and it went well, and we've really enjoyed the education. We don't take lightly the fact that the children, our students were online for 2 months. And so offering some education opportunities during this time as we prepare for reopening was the best plan that we thought to come up with. We're getting responses in that. Again, just to spend some time with not so much a huge gap in the students' learning, because I think with being the program we had was pretty on it, but I would say that it's always important to remember that if a modality isn't working, we need to pay attention and offer whatever is out there. So offering educational opportunities through the summer is what we have continued to do.
So I saw, because, again, I have the inside track with dear Lonnie Hill. I have looked over your reopening plan, and this is the first reopening plan I have actually read from any of the school systems. Now, granted, my kid's 25, so I don't have a dog in this fight necessarily. But I got to tell you, I am going to judge all the rest of them that I read based on this one that you have put together, because there was a lot of thought and a lot of planning that went into how you guys are going to reopen.
But yeah, thank you for that. Again, I'll credit ACSI with giving us a lot of webinars, town halls, and a lot of meetings since this has occurred. It's pretty much it's been a learning lesson. We're communicating with over 500 schools in the nation, just watching what they're doing, constantly getting what we believe wisdom from any council, listening to our parents. Recently had a bunch of town halls with the parents. But the reopening, of course, had to be based on, who we are, what we can do, and how we can serve our families. And it's been a very long process. I'll credit a lot to April Roth, who spent a lot of time on that plan as well. And we are excited that, it was board approved and we're moving forward. But it is nothing but a lot of work from people. As a private school, we have not had to do before and talk with. And we're happy that this kind of is a touch of, for sure, who we are. And we're excited to move forward. I was glad to get it done. It's been a long last couple months learning things that as a superintendent or you really are learning on the spot as all were, but super excited that, our plan is in. It is submitted to a lawyer, the health department. It's submitted to all the people that should have it. And now we're moving forward with our frequently asked questions, just trying to get everything we can to, again, listen to our parents and the community and say, hey, we're here. We're opening. We'd love for you to know who we are.
So right now the plan is to open the school year on Tuesday, August 25th as the first day of school. And that's for every student pre-K through grade 12.
Correct. We have
Right, it is, and yet we're also, because of Mrs. Hewitt mentioned in the first part of the segment that we had a lot of parents, because we were in their living rooms, and some parents came back and said, I really like being a part of my child's education like this. So what we've also done in conjunction with opening with the quote unquote normal approach is that we're also offering a hybrid program where our students have that option now, so they can be in 3 days in the classroom and 2 days out, and that the classrooms, the days they're out, they'll have full video of the classes that are taking place. That way they can still have the social aspect, they can still have the specials of music, education, language. I'm missing something there.
Well, they could still be part of our community also. Right. The reason the hybrid was really formed is not for fear of anything going to happen in the future, but just to say, if that worked for you, we want to partner the fact that the students and the parents want to be together. Right. However, a lot of them are saying, but I don't know if I want to teach them. I just want them home more. Right. So this offers something that's not really found in our community or in many counties. It might be one other school out there doing it. And I think it offers supporting what I would say, that if parents found out that being home with their children is a good thing, then I want to support that. And yet still having the education part on us, still having that partnership, and offering it, to those who say hybrid works. This is not it's not a complete online program for fear we're going to shut down. This is a second choice to those that, as Mariana said, it worked, and they're taking a chance. They're going to take an option on it.
It gives the parents that opportunity. They have the support of degreed teachers who are going to be working with their student. They're not responsible for the academic piece of it, and yet they have that option to have their child home 2 days as well. So
keeps the partnership, and everybody's happy.
We're really excited about that. So there are 2 programs opening up on that day.
So the program for the kids that are going to go every day, because you do have an option where pre-K through 5th grade, they're going to be on campus 5 days a week. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, we have, obviously there's other things we're doing with making it COVID appropriate, if you will, making sure with the cleaning, we're paying attention to everything that we feel is very important. We're not taking anything lightly, and we're not looking to put anyone at risk, but we are absolutely believing our philosophy based on our approach and the interests of the child is that these kids need to get back to school. They need to be with their friends. They need to be back in an environment that they understand, especially that pre-K through 5th grade. We really feel it's important to make sure that they're, even if it's a new normal, they get some routines back. I don't think keeping kids out of school is any safer in the long run than everything else going on. So we're excited that we're moving forward.
I was looking through your list of your reopening frequently asked questions, and you really have addressed a lot of the questions. So you've got a cleaning plan in place, which is probably the first and foremost that a lot of the parents are going to ask about. Is you have a plan for how you're going to keep that school clean and sanitized.
Absolutely. And we understand, and I personally feel very strong about that. That is very important. We don't take it lightly. I just know that with all this information out there from everything, the major support that's given us to learn how to clean, that's what we've been approaching many companies with. We've pretty much finalized our company, as well as, and we'll be reteaching. We're walking in under a program called Together and Caring for Others. Together is so important because our community is so tight. Caring for others says we're going to learn how to care for others in a new normal, but at the same time, our part is we're going to make sure that what the guidelines that are expected will be there, and yet not put to the point where we can't do what we want to do, which is educate the students. So yeah, it was lots of study. There's nothing you do, but just that you've just been learning. I've just been learning as much as we can for what do we need to do to get the school open, which keeps the interest of the child, the safety of the child, and still continues with who we are.
And I noticed in a lot of these and in your plan, one of the things that you're going to implement this year are smaller groups. So instead of having all of the kids be all over the school, intermingling with third graders and seventh graders and everything else, you've kind of decided to concentrate them a little bit more in little pockets of education, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. Again, following the guidelines that are out there that give us the wisdom and understanding that we can do that because we can do it within the building we're in. And that just helps in the long run. I think there's a real concentrated part on the education. We are going to add within the school day. We're going to stop and let the kids talk about what's been going on. I feel like they need a lot of that social emotional development. Again, we're in our 5th year of professional development with that. So we get to utilize it all the way through, but the day is going to be very creative. But yes, less in the classroom, following what we need to do to make it safe for the student.
The thing too that stood out to me when I was reading through the plan is you have quarantine scenarios actually included in the plan, so that if one of the students gets sick or one of the teachers gets sick or a parent of a student gets sick, you've got a plan for how all that's going to work and what the structure is going to look like the minute that you're notified.
Yes, absolutely. And as a school, we also have a lockdown plan, and we have a partial lockdown plan, and we do our fire drills. And there's a lot of misunderstanding that private schools just don't think about that. I don't know, but we do, and that's just being smart. I mean, being good stewards of time and people's lives. So we have a continual. We take things seriously. We put plans in place. We practice plans, and the parents know. We'll let them know we're having a lockdown trial. Now this is a different plan, but certainly we have to pay attention to parents who have the elderly at home or people that are living in their house that they're worried about. We absolutely have to take all precaution, and having that plan says that just if it occurred, we're ready as you can be. There's no plan that's foolproof. I can't tell you honestly that that'll be perfect. I just know having no plan is where you fail. So we are absolutely, that's probably a lot of the best part of our community. We do take things seriously. We know we're a Christian school, but God would require us to be prepared and be prepared for the safety of our students.
Are you going to be able to offer before and after school care? I know that was something that you had in the past in I have a dear friend of mine who calls it the before times.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. We are looking for a limited amount of people within that. We are, the Department of Social Services has done some limitations on that because of COVID-19. But we know how important that is to our parents, being a place that many of them are traveling to go to work and are starting back at work or are back at work now. So yes, we actually put it in the plan that we're going to offer that. We just have to be careful of the limitations with everything going on, but it's kind of a priority for where we live and for where our parents work.
So if somebody is listening today and they want to know where they can get a hold of this plan, maybe they are somebody who's been considering for a while that they don't want to send their kid back to public school and they want to look at some of their other options, or maybe it is a parent who has just been living under a rock and has no idea what's about to happen at the end of August. Where is the best place for them to go to get more information?
Well, the website is www.frontroyalchristianschool.com. And on the front page, the FAQs are a link at the bottom of that homepage with information about how we are returning. You can also call 635-6799, and our admissions department will answer any questions, take information. And even through Facebook, Front Royal Christian School on Facebook. We're getting a lot of inquiries through there, and I actually respond all hours of the night on that. So,
So Lorraine, before we wrap up today, do you have any advice for parents that are struggling right now with, maybe they want their kids to go back or maybe they don't? What kind of advice do you have for parents right now for what they should do regarding their kids' education moving forward?
Well, for every parent, as I say, our interest is in the child. Like this, as their mother and parent, they're just, their focus is going to be directly on what's best for my child. The best part about our community is that, like I said, we partner with our parents. So they're taking the lead and we're just kind of taking the baton and saying, okay, we're with you. You as a parent definitely want to know that your child's going to be serviced academically, socially, emotionally, and get some kind of routine back in. Go out there and check any psychologist, and they're saying these kids need to get back to routine. So as they're looking and searching, the best thing is, as we've seen in our parents, is to really just say, what's the best care for my child? Front Royal Christian School wants to help community reach out and do everything we can to be available to everyone. But my first thought right away is, as a parent, you make that decision what's best for your child. And then we're here to serve them, or anyone, if that's what God has called them to do.
Well, ladies, thank you for taking some time this afternoon to have this conversation with me. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Really
you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Janet.
We are going to wrap up today's conversation. We have been chatting with Lorraine Hewitt. She is the superintendent at Front Royal Christian School. Joining her on the Zoom screen today was Mariana Wakil. She is the director of communications, development, and operations for Front Royal Christian School. This is part of a continuing series that I am doing. Earlier last week, I spoke with Dr. Jason Manuculum from Winchester City Schools, and my plan is to talk to all of the school superintendents about what their reopening plans are. But tomorrow, it's Tourism Tuesday, so we're going a whole lot more lighthearted. Meet me back here tomorrow a few minutes after noon, and I will have Tourism Tuesday ready to go for you. I believe we are chatting with Lisa Cook from Clark County Parks and Rec. They've got a couple of events that they're going to try and kick off in the next couple of weeks. So meet me back here tomorrow at noon. I'll have that show ready to go for you.